thanks for having me, everybody. And I'm really glad that I can share a few things. First of all, like the short bio, as August already mentioned, I dropped out of university in my early 20s and spent lots of time in the arts scene and doing nice projects, some of which are together with Oli. And I already had the chance to talk about these like last week at DCMP. And I just want to make a little bridge for the guests who were also there. So I'm just showing one art piece that maybe also introduces what I will then I'll tell you about my more recent work. So this is the city of Linz. Some of you might have heard of it. It's small in Austria, but there's this festival, the Ars Electronica Festival, and now also the Ars Electronica Museum. And you see like this red markers. There are two buildings, one of which is the Stadtwerkstatt, like a local cultural house formerly spotted, now not anymore, and as old as the Ars Electronica Festival. And there's a second house on the other side of the river. Why have I shown you this? To make clear that this is a real thing, that we have here more stylized. So that's the Stadtwerkstatt building, and that's an insurance building on the other side of the river. That's the bridge that we've seen. And you see a web interface dating, I think, like made in 1997 and used in 1998. So it's pretty old. And what we did is that we made kind of a clickable landscape. So this is why the name of the project is Clickscape. And we had like the 4 camera positions, 4 webcams that would stream live. And the users, it was completely open, no registration, no passwords. That's the chance with web interfaces. And I don't know, for the programmers amongst us, it was Java 102, and we were really glad that the 02 was there, that it worked. And you could really interactively change the landscape. And this was like pre any wireless lighting possibilities. So luckily enough, in this insurance building, there was construction going on, so we could drill holes through all the walls and install a light behind each and every window. Yeah, and of course, we needed censorship because it was possible to draw all kinds of things on this 11 by 9 pixels that would like delete unwanted imagery, and you might be able to imagine what that could be like in a European, Austrian context. And yeah, this was like the holy trinity of sound, image, and text. So we had like the 3 web interfaces, screenshots, I think, also from 1998 with Netscape Navigator, and these Java applets that allows the control and the immediate feedback with them always running webcam. So this was one of the art pieces I've been doing there, and I think that's a nice transition to jump over to what I'm currently at. I went back to university eventually, and I'm now also working there at the St. Pölten University of Applied Sciences in Austria, and it's more or less, I mean, St. Pölten is a nice town with 50,000 inhabitants and a Baroque old town, but it feels like a suburb to Vienna because it's very close, like with the fast train, most people are commuting, there is campus with campus life, but I, for myself, I'm commuting from Vienna, as most of my colleagues. It's a very young university, so I'm at the beginning, and we are growing all the time. We're having now about 3,500 students, and we spent, like, let's say, the first decade in setting up the study programs, bringing in the students, and the second decade, we really emphasized on research, and this is where I had really then a good possibility to join. What I forgot in the CV, I served like 5 years as head of this research institute. And so the Institute of Creative Media Technologies, conducting interdisciplinary research on human-centered interactive technologies and media of the future. This is why I feel very much at home here with Atlas. And yeah, part of the Institute is our visual computing subgroup. And just to give you an impression, like 11 faculty, and then always changing number of like hired staff with a bit different names than we have here. Topically, we are in AI and visual analytics, and in HCI and visualization. And like in this subgroup where I'm in, and like the complete institute has, I think, many topics that you are also familiar with, like we have media production, media arts, media studies and ethics, also kind of media markets, and smart manufacturing, digital transformation. Like in these two topic areas, this is where I'm at home. So much for the introduction. Now let's jump into the projects I've been promising. And as we are a small and a nice group, please stop me all the time, because the professional deformation that a teacher has is that he is talking all the time. So just jump in and stop me if there's anything you want. Please. Okay. So
you've been in Singapore for almost 25 years now.
23 actually. So I only missed like the 5 years
You
from
started teaching there before you went back to school, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's maybe. So getting the job at the university also brought me back to studying, which made sense, and I can suggest to finish your studies if you're still. Okay, I think back in 2008 or 9, we started really to be highly interested in surface computing applications, and we made quite a few of these. I'm just showing a few snaps, most of the times in connection with some cultural artifacts that are either too valuable or too fragile to see and use directly, or too small to be observed. So here we have like something in the Austrian National Library about illuminations in a Bible, about the Apocalypse, which is kind of nice stuff. And of course, you could like highlight everything, zoom in, watch the material, get the quotes from the Bible, get the interpretation by the experts, and so on and so forth. We had a set of games related to petroglyphs from northern Italy, to which I will come back in another context. And yeah, we really invested some thought on how to design the games that they would enable let's say casual entry and leaving. So you have like 4 persons on the table doing something together. If one is leaving, another one can immediately take the spot, and within, let's say, a few cycles of whatever's going on there, can join and work with them. I mean, this is a puzzle game, and we had like other things like with bows and whatsoever. And yeah, we did quite a few. Up there, that's the Cartoon Museum in Krems, and I don't know if there are any German-based people in here. It's just August. That's the Dykes Museum, like and let's say at least. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Krems is just the city.
Oh.
Dykes.
Dykes is like the guy after whom it was done. And we had like the possibility to draw collaboratively. Then we had like a kind of photovoltaic museum where you could like, where the school classes would set up a village and then design their houses, and here's some music. Then this is also an example for things that you can't really see. It's about the Apogans that has been found there in an abbey, which is a piece of parchment in this size. And of course, no one is allowed to touch it. So you can explore it, learn about it, and have the translations and the transcriptions of everything that's going on. And we really, let's say, spent a decade with this. If you're interested in more depth, like all the publications, of course, they are next to my profile. And then 10 years ago, something had changed. So this is like I don't know, actually, the term when the Pope is made. So 2005, 2013, and like all the candles, we know what these are. And so we thought, okay, what can we do with these new personal items? And so we tried to find money, and we found some money, and we said, okay, let's build the ultimate ecosystem for multiple devices, stationary, active stationary devices that are transferring data with the user's personal devices, and passive ones that only, let's say, are some kind of a beacon. And I think the URL is often there because there's all the material, the publications, also the software is open source of the server. And we even found the possibility to use a real exhibition with it, and had like all kinds of digital artifacts and digital editions with AR and so on and so forth. But somehow, I think what we learned is that what really worked out for us were the things where you could leave the phone in your pocket. So we decided after this experience, not only out of our stomachs, but together with the evaluations, that it's rather, yeah, it's a bit disturbing, like running with the smartphone to the exhibition, because our vision was that you had it in your pocket, and whenever you enter something that has some kind of content that you can connect with, it just give you some kind of signal. This didn't work out, because as soon as the phone is locked, you can't use the Bluetooth anymore. We learned this, and so this was like the original vision. And also like the surface computing based, like fixed installations, they worked out better also for all the visitors. So we really did an extensive survey. The exhibition was running for 9 months. So we would say send always batches of students doing interviews, and of course also all of the data.
Like, was AR even big enough in 2007?
Yes. So what we did with AR, for instance, there's like this coffin on the lower left-hand side, and you could look inside the coffin. On the very lower left-hand side, there was some text where you could see the transcription. So this was also, let's say, a useful addition. But on the other hand, in most of the cases, could also have been saved just with 2 printouts, and not only one.
And there's a quiz.
There's a quiz. Yes, this also worked, funnily enough. And then there's some visualization of the family tree of the Austrian emperors, the Babenbergs, like the first ones, and like the full family tree is there on the left-hand side, and you can't go close to it and can't touch it. And so we had like this beautiful touch table just to get context info on it. Yeah, but really long story short, we like the surface computing, and so do the visitors, but like with the phones, no, it's really, not giving any extra things. Like for the quiz, it was okay, it was good input, but for all the other things, it was better to keep it in the pocket. Yeah.
Makes sense. Was that just a question of design? The design of the direct for this interface?
Always,
Yeah.
always, but we did our best. It was really like a long, ongoing project, but sure, always, yeah. What questions?
No, I'll be quiet now.
No, please,
Not like
please ask something, because then I'm not feeling that I'm so rolling over the audience. Okay, so next thing.
Well, no, I think we all have thoughts, but we want to see where you're going.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's say that was the end already of the exhibition part. So if you want to discuss like these things, then
let me
I
jump
would
in.
really gladly.
Right, so I should start by saying I'm an enthusiast. We've done projects along these kind of lines too, and I'm always in favor, but I'm also feeling like if I'm in a room with that amazing artifact, I don't want to deal with anything digital. I want to be in the presence of the thing.
Yeah.
And any digital overlay is likely to distract me from the real experience. And so, and then there's the other thing that in museums, you basically have 3 minutes per exhibit before the person moves on. And so are you really dividing that 3 minutes into two parts or, and so there's this all, I have this misgivings, I guess, or distrust a little bit of the digital experience overlaid and understanding fully that, yeah, we can make a richer experience. We can give them facts. We can engage them in a question. We can maybe gamify the experience. I'm like, well, so I don't know if others feel differently than I do about this.
I think one other thought too, that's these digital experiences, why do they have to be in the museum? They're often as accessible by down to the by somewhere else. And is there a special affordance that comes from that you can kind of, the exhibition can continue once I've gone home, I had a half hour to think about what I just saw.
So like in our design space, of course, we also have like pre, during, and post and multiple music. So we, let's say, like to explore the whole field. But at the end, what we had then resource-wise was like our first priority to also have something in the museum. And like I'm with you that like this triptychon is of course very interesting, but no one is allowed to go close. So then you can like see it, it's still impressive because it's like, I don't know, 3.5 by 8 meters. And like on the surface, you have the digital twin. You can like dive in and also get like some texts about it. And this was also, let's say, positively.
By the visitors.
Yeah. I mean, I will be appreciating, and then I start looking and I say, who is that person? That looks like a queen or somebody. It's so female. And so then I have a whole bunch of questions. Unless somebody was there, I can answer my question. I have no idea. So I do appreciate having that. And I don't mind having a phone there because I may be looking up already. I'm like, Google, tell me what this exhibit, or can you recognize the face of this? I mean, it's painting, it's not a real photograph. But I want to know who they are, how they're related. Well, maybe there's a queen and always have daughters, those are princesses. I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess the underlying question, we can move on, is what is the value added of the digital overlay, or what is the purpose? Like, is it to enrich the visitor experience, or is it to engage the casual visitor more deeply, or is it to educate? Why are we doing this thing? We know we can do it. It's pretty cool. What is our design purpose?
I mean, something, Ellen, that you just did, I thought was kind of great. You're talking about zooming into that sort of a gesture. You can just imagine sort of swinging into the depths and detail of the exhibit, you know, to get the next layer of detail, the next layer of detail, the next, and the next, and the next. It strikes me that a digital twin in there lets you go a lot deeper than you might be able to go with just engaging with an artifact in space as well.
And then sometimes I really want to look things up. Like I said, this is intriguing. What's the story behind it? And sometimes I'm literally like Google trying to find out who they are. So I think in museum or art exhibits, sometimes going, I'm happy. So I want to take a picture because I want to document. But then I will take a picture of that and then take a picture of other things because there may be something I was so touched, I want to look more. Did not know about this artist, I want to know more. And for this one, it's like, I bet there are stories. I wonder how do they meet, what's going on. But I am not going to read the text.
Well, there's an example of the Clifford Still Museum that I just saw.
Yes.
Recently. This is an art museum downtown.
In Denver.
Seen it.
My favorite museum.
It's a great museum. It's dedicated, a whole museum dedicated to the work of the artist Clifford Still. No other artists. And most of his work is there. It's kind of a unique museum, but they have this great interactive timeline that kind of runs through the middle of the museum that if you want to find out, like, you know, what is the story behind it? You seem to use a lot of this blue pigment. I remember it's like this whole interpretation of going deeper into how he made his paints and, you know. But it was nice because you could unlock additional levels.
Yeah, and then they have the physical thing, and then some of the knot on the rotating exhibit is behind it, so you can see through the glass, see the painting behind it, even though you cannot go in there. So I need to come back because they may be taking that out. Or can I look it up? Yeah.
I mean, we also had like the possibility, like for the deep divers, to really learn geographically and the stories of the life and timelines with this visualization, but it was not used so much. It's really like, it was maybe also too enthusiastic. This was like one PhD work, and it was more an expert tool than something for the exhibition.
So when you mentioned coffin, it's this one, right?
Mhm.
But for a moment, I thought there's a coffin, so I can look inside.
Which was pretty nice, but this one was like that.
Yeah, look inside what's in there. Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
okay, thanks. So now we are going a bit back in time, and of course you all know what petroglyphs are because you have been on this continent too. And now we are in northern Italy, in the Lombardy, already next to Piedmont, where there's the largest site of petroglyphs in the world. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's many of these panels are accessible very well. So this is why they are also visited frequently. They have been under the earth until the 1920s. So the production stopped approximately 1500 before Christ, and then really earth was growing over them, and this is why they are preserved so well. And there's a bunch of beloved colleagues, all of them archaeologists, with whom I spent many weeks over 8 years. And so first we had a full panel in full resolution on a tabletop to explore it, which was fantastic. But then we tried to get really a larger project, also to help the experts with their main work, which is documentation. I mean, a bit depending on which school of archaeology they are, but the British ones, they are in documentation, the German ones are more in interpretation. But the site is huge. It's 1,200 of these stone panels with approximately more than 200,000 figures. And it's a typical work for archaeology PhDs is to trace. It's they're doing with dot by dot, trying to redo all the pecks. And so we tried to establish a digital tool chain, and luckily enough, we were able to acquire a relatively large European project where we would prototype and showcase the full pipeline from the acquisition down to analysis and to let's say Pidotti science lab, or that the data is in there and can be explored by the experts. So that was the thing. And lots of partners and a beautiful project. So what was our job there from St. Pölten? We did the computer vision, based on the 3D scans of the others to do the tracing digitally. So first really surface classification to distinguish natural surface of the stone from pecked surface, so human pecked surface. Then in the next step, classify the shapes into the different typologies that the archaeologists have. And in the last step, looking closer at then segmented out figures, because as they have been manufactured over thousands of years, obviously there have been root artists pecking over each other. Can you name this? With chisel and some, So these are mostly stone. So no metal chisels, but like a sharper stone. I tried it myself. It's fun. I was always lost in there.
Some rocks up there.
What are these bottom right figures?
So this was then the approach based on the 3D data to distinguish layers of packings. So there are seemingly there's like this finer done figure beyond and some coarse packing. Oh wait, this was like our approach to distinguish this. So okay, this was like our work there, but we approached the segmentation on the full 3D data, on the point cloud data, which was kind of too much at that time, and I suppose it would still be too much. I'm not quite sure how much technical detail you want, like about the descriptors, but you can just tell me if that's interesting or not. But like there are like different possibilities to describe the surface in a way that you can use it then for machine learning, and we developed some of these and used some pre-existing by comparing them, but the performance was not so well, and especially the computational cost was simply too high.
In the top left picture is the bow and the arrow
Yeah.
annotated by you users, or is that actually in the rock?
So this is in the rock. So the upper left-hand side is like the ground truth, and the annotations were done by experts, by archaeologists. So this is in the project they like really fine grain digitally annotated a lot, and this is a result of the automated segmentation. And we can see it did not so perfectly run out, and this scratched in because like the bow is not pegged but scratched.
Yeah.
This was almost impossible to find, but it was only a small part of the packing, so we just were happy to find the others. And then luckily enough, the surfaces, there were no self-occlusions, so we could reduce it to a 2.5D problem using depth map and having like all the inventory of like image classification and segmentation. And it was kind of the already the deep learning approaches were out, 2012, ImageNet and so on, that like first been won by a deep learning approach. And yeah, but this was working best still like with the classical approaches, and we were able to really segment these in a useful and meaningful way. So these are all results of our segmentation approaches. So we can see that like the bow that we had in the first image, it's undoable. I mean, I think there are some dots have been found along the deer, but like the vast majority, background is background, foreground is foreground. So it's doable. And then next thing, like this over inscription, where we have over here like this figure, and then this arrow, presumably later with way larger tools. Obviously, the question from the archaeologists, like the last one, can we identify authors? Of course, it's too much, because I mean, there's only interpretation in there, because there's no chance to find out how old these packings are, because it's just material that's missing, so you can't use any carbon dating. And there are like all kinds of stories, the master of Pasquaro, like with the finest stroke. But fact was, it's so already weathered down that like all the shapes are somehow very soft, and we were glad to find them and to at least can distinguish very fine from very coarse. And this we did in an unsupervised way, because there was not any ground truth data, just by describing the surface and then clustering the like in a densely sampled way the points. And of course, like with 2 clusters, it somehow makes sense. With 4 clusters, still the 2 clusters are visible. And this is what we saw at the beginning, where we have like already segmented out. It's just like one patch. And of course, we don't know like the 3 partially visible figures, they have to be done from the same person? Most likely not, because we see like the clusters are somehow noise, but up there it makes sense, like with the cursor pecking over. Yeah. And the next thing was then using the typologies and to automatically cluster the figures and automatically assign a type to the figures. And what was beautiful is that the archaeologists were really enthusiastic about this, and we had lots of proxy material, like from these classical tracings. Like this has been done since the 1920s, so there are huge archives of most of the rocks, and they are sometimes like 250 square meters large. The foils are somewhere, many of them are already digitized, and we built a little tool for them so that they can, like with a kind of magic wand, select figures and change the selections and determine the type for us. And they were kind enough to annotate all in all like 2,500 figures, and we did them like data set with balanced classes with 1,000 figures, which is really and we can really see like the enormous diversity like also within classes. So like in the 15th century, then there were lots of crosses up there, but many often parts are missing, and it's unfinished figures which have been packed over each other. And the aim was to help with further typing by making a suggestion, like with the class. And for this, we also employed like everything what was there, like classic computer vision and shape description, plus the deep learning. And in this case, like the results improve with combinations of classically handcrafted features and features learned by the deep networks. Now I would say the handcrafted features are useless, but we know all this, that the black boxes are strong enough. And so yeah, what we did then is also to I think I will skip this because this is utterly boring, but this is like it shows that the combination is better. It's like the best combination of classic features down there, and which is better than deep learning alone, and the combination is always better up there. But like in terms of the use, is that like 78% correct classification, which is kind of fair if you've seen the data set. And the curve that you can see here is if we present, for instance, the five classes that are most probable, then we're already at like 96% chance that with one click the user can like type into there, and it's like one of the typologies I think is almost 90 classes, so it's really helpful for further typing. Yeah, and I think 5 to 7 is doable to proceed with them. Yeah, so much for the P-talk. This was what, a 5-year project or something? The project, like this very project, was I think 3 from the beginning, but we did 4 then. But like all together, like with smaller projects from 2010 to 2018 or something like this. But also with some exhibition work and so on.
Have you tried with other petroglyphs in different areas, different places, maybe on different rocks? different.
Yes, yes. So we had many, let's say, requests from archaeologists all over the world. And if they had 3D material, of course, we would give it a try. And like in terms of the segmentation, it really depended very much on the quality of the material. Because like we had in our segmentation data set, tried to have like as various packings as possible, like from small to large and from cross to small. And so it would usually, if the material was about the same quality as ours in terms of points per millimeter, then it would work rather well. But it's like, yeah, I mean, if we would have the money now again, the tool chain would be way more useful because then this was just like small experiments. Okay, so next thing, after that, or in between, I think was the VTX, I met a paleographer, which is the kind gentleman on the left-hand side, and he's a book archaeologist. So it's an auxiliary science for history. And so I'm now an auxiliary scientist for an auxiliary scientist, which is kind of nice. And the idea is, what can we learn from the manuscripts? So like from the materiality and also from the writing. So large data set with 40,000 already digitized pages. Only partially known is, or not known, there are only for parts of the material hypothesis who wrote what. It's not about the content, it's just about the writing. Who was the typewriter, like before Gutenberg invented? And why do we want to know that? Because then we can learn about the travels of the writers and or the manuscripts and learn more about the scriptoria of the monasteries. And so we did this in 2 steps. So first we tried to model the existing know-how. And basically this is like the lifetimes work of 2 paleographers mainly who went through all the manuscripts and had their assumptions about the scribe. And then in the next step, if successful with the modeling of this, enable recent paleographers with means to way faster, be able to dive into the archives. And just a few example pages. I mean, I have to say they really tried to train us, but I don't see the difference. I mean, it's kind of easy maybe here on the left-hand side, and also the color of the ink is a bit different, but most of the times you really need to be a trained expert. And they said 1 PhD, 1 book. And there are many books there. It's a full library of books, and like they would then find some characteristic letters, maybe some abbreviations that only this scribe would use, copy them out, have like this kind of list of these things and try to compare. However, we could learn it pretty successful. So like in a first step, we would like cut out the lines, and then this is like 1 scribe over 3 different manuscripts. And this is a critical question because there's lots of, okay, maybe 1 side step like scribe identification or handwriter identification is used in forensics or with old manuscripts. And this is like 1 scribe in 3 different manuscripts, and you see the parchment is different, maybe the photographic quality is different. But what we did is to take the lines, then cut out these patches overlapping, that each letter is at least in 1 patch fully, and train a deep network. And it really worked out to successfully model this. We even found mistakes that the paleographers did. What I'm showing here is a confusion matrix where we have like the ground truth and the predictions. And if we see a number close to 1 alongside the diagonal axis, then it's perfect. And the lower, the worse. And we see that like for most of the classes, we are close to 1. But like the B20 and the A250, they have 0 even at the axis, but we can directly see with which other classes they have been missed. At least for the 215, it's B20 and the other one is unclear. And then there's some other things I want to touch you with because you want to see the user interfaces. So after we did this, we were like happy because we knew, okay, we can model what the paleographers assumed before. And then we built a user interface in which with which and I have to pause here sometimes in between. So I made a video, and so we can see now an experiment where one unknown book has been predicted by the machine. So let me see. Oh, no, that was not what I wanted. Sorry. I want to pause at the point where I can show you something. No, it worked. Oh, this is overshot. Okay, then I will try to speak quickly. So we will see an experiment where we have like the models of all the scribes, and we have a book for which it's unknown which page or which parts have been written by whom. And okay, now that's kind of sad, but I'm over there. No. Maybe I could have paused. No, I can't pause. Okay. I won't try it again. So
I think if you keep the play bar on while it's playing, just like you.
Oh, okay, but I think I tried this before, but I don't know. No.
Yes.
Okay.
And now, before pausing it, you'll have to move the cursor.
I get it, so that I can
See
it
the
again. Yeah, true.
and now you can.
Okay. So now, thanks
Yeah.
for the hint. Very well. So what we can see here is that this would be like the portion with the ground truth. So what the old paleographers would already have been labeled, have had labeled, but there is nothing there because it's an unknown book. And these are the predictions of our model. And this is the confidence for the prediction of the model. And the predictions unveiled like this hand A30 seems to have written most of the book, luckily enough. It's like the tedious job of going through all the pages is now reduced to this last part, where there's, let's say, some kind of noise, which could be a hint for a new hand, maybe. And we also have like a confidence coloring up here, which gives us the chance to, so now I have to move it again. Now I've learned that thing. And so that one can like set the confidence to see where are the predictions certain or not. And then, of course, also there's the possibility to compare the pages with the reference pages, where we have like for all the existing hands, the existing material. You can load their hand and then zoom in, have a look, make some comments for the others, and also suggest new labels. And after this work is done, then we get back to our backend and retrain the model. So if you say, okay, I think these last few pages are a new hand, we can train it and can try to verify if this is also like doable. And I mean, the interface is still evolving, and we have now until end of this year, so which is quite some time to do a nice evaluation and to see how useful this expert tool is in fact, because at the beginning they were very enthusiastic, but now they're really working with it. We'll see how it turns out. But I think it helps, and it's like with the sheer mass of material that's out there. Because like in the archives, the age of digitalization has been started like at the beginnings of the 2000s, where they really like digitized everything. So the digital twins are there. And okay, so much for this. And now just a few more comments, or if there are any questions, maybe right now to this project, that I'll be happy to ask. So I've successfully talked to Tyre already. So, but we are almost done. We're almost done. So, and luckily enough, we won another grant, and we can add the second building block, which are these. It's like low rank book illuminations. So not like the beautiful with gold and blue, but like presumably done by the scribes themselves, like with the pen, with the feather. And yeah, that's like the next question, to like style-based estimate whether we can also identify authors for them, which is it is way harder. On one hand, we are dealing with art historians now, which is not per se harder, but they have a completely different approach than the historians, and are way more like into describing the style perfectly, finding words, how to describe each subpart of this. There is no ground truth at all. So of course there is the assumption that there's not one author per fleuronnet, but there is no work on this. So we also need to design a system with which we have like the expert user way early in the loop. So it's not like a two-step approach, model the existing know-how, give the chance to expand it, but we really have to, let's say, even for the first labelings, bring some suggestions, and that's an open thing. But I'm really looking forward to it. And then last project, and maybe I hope I can find some positive things here. So we already in this topic started a PhD program, now initially with 5 finance PhDs, but of course it's the intent to integrate all our activities in this field is visual analytics and computer vision meet cultural heritage. I don't like the acronym, but I was smoking over by my esteemed colleagues. I still don't know how to say it. Wait for white Q. Yeah, I know. And yeah, you've seen some of the things before. Now we are more in contemporary media, so like with photographs and films. This is like our main material, and we have like for the 5 PhD topics that we have like, let's say, on a large scale already defined. We have always a partner institution with the materials, and there's already something there. And yeah, it's like our university, the Vienna University of Technology, with which we are always, let's say, bonded very well. And like the core faculty here is half visual analytics, half computer vision, and we even have one digital humanities colleague with us from our university. And this is, let's say, the design space we are in, like for galleries, libraries, archives, museums. What's already there are the digitized twins and the metadata, and of course the artifacts. And we want to add, on one hand, on enrichment of the metadata, and towards experts, exploration and feedback possibility, towards the general public experience, immersion, presentation, visualization. So this is the space we are working in. And yeah, that's like this layers from creation over exploration to experience. And these are like the keywords for the intended topics. So like from low level content time prediction up to high level situated storytelling. And I mean, this was also kind of the sales to get the money. So there were, of course, no interdependencies between the theses that would stop the students. So each has the material to work on its own. But here we see that like each topic is supervised by at least 2, sometimes 3 supervisors. We also have the external experts. Yeah, and we are hiring, or we will be hiring soon. In autumn, there is the official start of the program. And if anyone is interested here or in the large voids of the internet, please get back to me, and I will happily give you notice as soon as we have the job postings out. Okay. That's it. I mean, I'm here, so thanks a lot.
How long are you here for?
Until Thursday. Cool. Thank you.
Really cool. I guess I'm curious, what drove you towards applying all these computer vision tools and mechanisms towards archaeological and
Because I didn't want to apply it on finance,
Right.
anything other, which is, I'm taking the luxurious aim to apply the things that I'm interested in.
I have a related question, and I'm curious how you find your partners that you're working with on these projects and what their involvement usually looks like. It sounds like it's different in each project, but what, like maybe in this upcoming project in the fall, what you anticipate their involvement to look like?
Okay. So I will just like maybe go back to where we can see the material. It's like decades of being in the field and networking, like the exhibition project we've seen. And the 2 book projects, they're all with the same partner, which is like the largest private library for medieval book in Austria. So they're highly interested to have us, and we are applying for the grants together. In this field, we also have Robert Zablatnik from the Technical University in Vienna, who's also a computer vision colleague, but has contacts to all like heritage-related institutions in Austria and beyond. Then there's also the Time Machine organization, which is also a European thing driven by the archives. And they try to make like this digital twin of the world where you can travel through time and have all the archives there digitally. So this is their vision, and which is also an organization where you meet like the colleagues. It's like a constant stream, and you meet somebody, you talk with him, like the scribe thing. I met with Martin Hartwig on occasion of the exhibition, and he told me about his PhD thesis, which was like 1 book and lots of red wine. He told me later the hour was, and I said, okay, let's try to improve this. And then we all know there's the frustration tolerance that we need them writing proposals. So you write 5 proposals, we get 1, next year write 3, you get another 1, and it's just step by step. Thanks again for